All right, so today we're going to talk about how to deal with difficult emotions. This is something that a lot of us experience, and it's a very difficult thing for clients to deal with. I've worked with a lot of clients over the years who, they deal with a lot of emotional, unresolved issues. And a lot of times those unresolved issues that we carry around, like, baggage that we drag around with us, have a way of showing up and often become debilitating, right? They lead to anxiety, depression, and just constant worry, fear, and self-doubt, right? So it's become important to learn how to deal with these difficult emotions. And one of the things that we need to understand, I call the TEA triangle, right? The TEA triangle allows you to deal with emotions by learning how to go to the source of those emotions, right? The source of an emotion is always a thought. I want you to remember that. The source of an emotion is always a thought. Thoughts control our emotions, and our emotions control our actions. So contrary with what a lot of people think, no, it's not our thoughts that really control our actions, it's our emotions. Our thoughts control how we feel. So you change the way you think, you change the way you feel, you'll change what you're willing to do. Right? So thoughts, emotions, action. So when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling, remember these are feelings, right? And feelings show up after emotions. So when you're feeling a certain way, when you're feeling certain emotions, in order to deal with that, well, number one, you have to become aware of it. Awareness is always the place to start. Make yourself aware. That's the first thing. You do that and you are 50% there. Just be aware of what you're feeling. Right? And a lot of times we run away from what we're feeling. No, be present with it. Be aware. Learn to identify what you're feeling. How is it showing up in your body? Right? That is how you deal with it. You be present with it instead of running away from it. I guarantee when you work through an emotion, you'll get through it a heck of a lot faster than if you run away from it. The more you try to run away from it, the more it stays with you. Why? Because what you resist persists. So you learn to go through your emotion by first identifying, what am I feeling? Where am I right now? Right? Become aware of what it is you're feeling. What is the emotion? And then you go to the core of that. Why am I feeling this way? Right? You see, I call this learning to work your process. You learn to work your process. And the way you learn to work your process is you learn to become a neutral observer. I call it becoming a neutral observer of yourself. When you become a neutral observer, you become more like a fly in the wall experiencing yourself living. So you become a fly in the wall, you're a neutral observer experiencing yourself going through those emotions. You've got to be able to do that. You've got to be able to separate your higher self from the person who is experiencing life from your lower self. Right? Your higher self is a person who already knows all the answers, who know how to deal with all this stuff. So you've got to be able to separate those two, because you do have a higher self, right? So you need to learn how to invoke that neutral observer, be able to see yourself experiencing the difficult emotion, experience the experience of life. You've got to be able to detach yourself, kind of like a ghost, someone who just died, who is having an out-of-body experience, standing there watching the dead body on the ground, right? That's your spirit self. So you've got to become a neutral observer. Learn to become a neutral observer. So you identify, become aware of what you're feeling. Identify it. What emotions are you dealing with right now? I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling depressed. Whatever it is, you've got to be able to identify it and just know and be there. Don't run away from it. You want to lean into it, not lean away from it. And then what is the source? Why am I feeling this way? Well, you're feeling this way often because you're thinking certain thoughts. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because you're thinking, oh my God, I got so much to do and I can't do it. Oh, I got this and this going on, and how am I going to do this? Oh, I don't have the money to do this program, and I've got all these bills piling up, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If you're thinking oh my God thoughts, well, don't you see that that's going to lead to oh my God feelings? right? That is how the way it shows up. So you go to the source. And next, what you need to do is, well, you change your thinking. You learn to, a lot of times, what we're thinking that leads to overwhelm, that leads to difficult emotions, are thoughts that are based in fear, right? They're what we call irrational beliefs. Thoughts that are based on irrational beliefs. They're not rational, right? So you identify these irrational beliefs. I'm not lovable. I'm not enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I can never do this, or I can never figure that. Well, those are, right? You see, those are based on self-limiting beliefs, and those come from all different kind of programming that we've gotten growing up as kids and throughout our life experiences. So we learn to deal with those self-limiting beliefs, and you challenge them. You learn to challenge those limiting beliefs. You challenge them. Well, you find evidence to the contrary. I'm not good enough. Well, my kids think I'm good enough. I just did this, and this. Oh, my kids love me. My daughter loves me. I've got a loving husband or a loving wife. I've got a loving spouse or a loving significant other. They love me, so I must be lovable. Or even if you want to say, my dog loves me, right? Your dog loves you. So there's evidence to the contrary. You find evidence to the contrary to dispute that irrational belief. That is how we do it. This is a process we use in rational emotive therapy. It's a form of psychology therapy that we use to deal with anxiety and depression and all of these other kinds of difficult emotions that people go through. Okay? So think about that. You become aware of what you're doing. It's a lot more involved than this, but this is the basics. Become aware of what you're feeling. Identify the emotions behind how you're feeling, and then just be okay with it. Go to the source of what you're feeling. The source of what you're feeling is what you're thinking. What am I thinking? What are the thoughts I'm thinking? And those thoughts are usually based on irrational beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'll never be able to figure this out. I'll never be able to lose weight. I'll never be able to blah, 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 blah. A lot of times it's based on catastrophic thinking. I'll never be able to do this, or this will never happen for me. I'm not good enough. Well, we get very good at catastrophizing, right? So you challenge those irrational beliefs that are based on fear. You challenge those irrational beliefs that are based on fear. That is how we do that. And when you challenge those irrational beliefs, you replace them. You replace that thought with a more empowering thought. I am lovable. I am good enough. I will do this. This is happening for me. You see how that different? You adopt that. I will do this. I am doing this. This is already done. Because my future self alter ego is already there. My future self is already there. I know who I'm becoming. This is already done. And when you start replacing those irrational, those negative thought patterns based on irrational beliefs with more empowering thoughts based on empowering beliefs, the way you feel will change. And remember, this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So the more you will be able to, sometimes you'll get to the point of instantaneously achieving, relief from anxiety, depression, and all of these emotions and feelings that can become very debilitating, right? Another simple thing, there are other simple things you can do. One is deep belly breathing, right? You get into your body, you get grounded, get into your body, and just focus on your breath. If you focus on your breath, right, you let go, you clear your mind. Your mind is like a monkey jumping from a tree in the jungle. It goes from thought to thought, and that leads to fear, worry, self-doubt, overwhelm, right? So you learn to calm your mind with deep belly breathing, get grounded. Just focus on your breath coming up through your your feet, out of the ground, going up through your head and out into the universe, right? Deep belly breathing. You learn to, like I said, challenge your self-talk. You learn to stay in the present. One of the things we teach clients to do and to deal with anxiety and worry is to stay in the present. Use the 3-3-3 rule. Find 3 things you can see. Look at 3 things around the room. That's keeping you in the present. 3 sounds you can hear. Try to identify 3 different sounds that you can hear. What are 3 things you can touch? Touch 3 different things. Make it very tactile, right? So you're staying in the present. Those are powerful and those are very important. That's how you stay in the present. If you stay in the present, a lot of times our overwhelm comes from looking into the future and not seeing how we can possibly take care of all the things that are coming at us. But if we're able to stay in the present, usually it's just one thing you need to do. What can I do now? That's why I always offer my clients, well, focus on what can I do? Because that empowers you, that puts you in power. And the minute you start asking yourself, what can I do? That opens up a world of possibility. Now you put your brain in on a different track. Now your brain is looking for possibilities to solve the problem, to find the missing piece of the puzzle, right? But when you sit in the overwhelm, the fear and the worry and self-doubt, well, guess what? That shuts you down. And that's when you feel like quitting because you can't see how to get out of it. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're sitting in darkness. So very important. Learn how to deal with difficult emotions. Hope this is helpful.